Manual, non-electric transfer for when the control fails during an emergency. The emergency power system is for life safety. All information expressed by Standby Power Solutions, LLC, or its officers is strictly the opinion of Standby Power Solutions, LLC. Building code recognizes that sometimes equipment just does not work the way it is supposed to. That is why NFPA 110 2010 edition, Chapter 6.2.4 requires instruction and equipment be provided in case the transfer switch malfunctions. If the transfer switch control malfunctions during an emergency, it may have to be transferred manually in order to get power to the life safety circuits. Manual transfer can be a dangerous procedure. It is a can of liability worms, so manufacturers may not provide instructions even though the building code calls for them. Refer to NFPA 70E, Handbook for Electrical Safety in the Workplace. Only a trained technician should be allowed to execute a manual transfer procedure. Call a licensed electrician who is familiar with the safety guidelines of NFPA 70E. Be sure all safety equipment is available. Never leave a technician to work on electrical circuits alone. Keep a staff member standing by in case of an accident. If the transfer switch control fails and you choose to manually transfer the contactor in order to provide electrical power to the facility, do not attempt to do this yourself. Secure the services of a licensed electrician trained in electrical safety procedures. Make sure the electrician is familiar with NFPA 70E, Handbook for Electrical Safety in the Workplace. Insist your electrician demonstrate that all electrical circuits to the automatic transfer switch are de-energized before he attempts a transfer. The transfer switch contactor is the big switch that moves the load from utility power to generator power. It uses a linear motor or electric solenoid to do this. In the event of a failure, this component has been known to lock the armature in place and prevent the contactor from moving to the opposite position or at all. In the three photos I have below, I'm pointing out linear actuator and solenoids. These are the devices that actually move the contactor electrically. Warning: never attempt a manual transfer with either electrical source energized. Manual transfer is intended for maintenance purposes only. See the warning label I've pointed out here. Many things can go wrong during a manual transfer. The linkage can come loose. The actuator can seize and lock the armature. The limit switches can malfunction. The control can malfunction. Conductors can come loose. The backboard can become brittle from heat and crumble. Dangerous arc and flash may result. De-energize first. If the automatic control fails and you choose to transfer the contactor manually, a handle is often provided. Manufacturers caution that the handle is for maintenance only. Refer to the owner's manual for instructions. You can see in the photos below I'm pointing out 3 different switches and 3 different handles. There should also be a way to disable the actuator in order to safely make a manual transfer. Some automatic transfer switches provide this feature. Make sure the breakers from the generator and utility are open and the contactor is de-energized. In the 3 photos below, I'm pointing out these switches. They are used to de-energize the actuator only. Instructions for safely making a manual transfer should be readily available. Some manufacturers post minimal instructions on the transfer switch itself. Most do not. You'll have to look in the owner's manual for these instructions, and you'll notice that it says this is for maintenance purposes only. Refer to your operator's manual for detailed manual transfer switch instructions. It is a good idea to keep these instructions handy. Make a copy and put it in your transfer switch cabinet. De-energize the entire system. then practice making a manual transfer during a time when you do not have an emergency. Train your staff. All information expressed by Standby Power Solutions, LLC, or its officers is strictly the opinion of Standby Power Solutions, LLC. Standby Power Solutions, LLC disclaims any liability for any personal injury, property, or other damages of any nature whatsoever, whether special, indirect, consequential, or compensatory, directly or indirectly resulting from the publication, use of, or reliance on this website or any information derived thereof. Standby Power Solutions, LLC also makes no guarantee or warranty as to the accuracy or completeness of any information contained herein. Anyone using this website should rely on his or her own independent judgment, or, as appropriate, seek the advice of a competent professional in determining the exercise of reasonable care in any given circumstance. All rights reserved. Do not reproduce without express written permission.